hope you're doing well out there. My name is Frodo, and welcome to episode 27 of Stray Dog Footy, an American podcast on Australian rules football. What a wild and crazy time this 2020 season has been, and it isn't even over yet. But before I get too far into this episode, I would like to extend my condolences to the friends and family of AFLW player Jacinda Barkley, who passed away at the too young age of 29 this week. Not only was she a footy star and founder for GWS, she also excelled in baseball as a national level player at just the age of 15, and in American football playing quarterback for the New South Wales Surge, as well as being scouted by the Chicago Bliss, in both countries' Legends football leagues. But her great love was always Aussie rules, and she will always be remembered in the halls of Greater Western Sydney. In her 4 seasons with the club, she played 23 games and scored 11 goals. But more than that, by all accounts, her spirit lifted all those around her. I don't know the details of what happened, but given her age and the wording that has accompanied the sad news, I can surmise. But it really doesn't matter. What does matter is that a precious and remarkable life was lost too soon. As it is insanely difficult to find the right words at a time like this, I will defer to the ones who succeeded so beautifully, and I will share some of the incredibly powerful words her family released in a statement instead. It is with deep regret and sadness that the Barkley family announces the passing of our beautiful and beloved daughter. She was a shining comet that soared through this world, casting her radiant light of love on all she met. Though that comet has now shattered into a million pieces, the memory of it will remain a beacon for all women in high-profile sports to strive to excel, to dare to be great, while staying humble and proud. Okay, wow, hard to follow that, but I guess I just have to go on and talk about the AFL Finals. And though such tragedy puts sports in a different perspective, Australian rules football is one of the things that makes me feel the most excited about being alive. It is my obsession, it is my addiction, it is my escape. It is my happy place, though at times it brings me both hope and heartache on the same platter. But that is why we watch, isn't it? What will it serve up today? So after all the hubbub of the first 2 rounds of the finals, with the Tigers beating the Saints by a score of 80-49, and the Cats absolutely decimating the Pies 100-32, the top 4 clubs on the ladder at the end of the regular home and away season are now the final 4 teams in the finals. At least the first round of the playoffs, with the qualifying and elimination finals, provided possibly the most exciting 4 postseason games in a single round in recent memory. The semis, on the other hand, were pretty much duds, unless, of course, you barrack for the Tigers and the Cats. So hopefully the preliminary finals will be more like the former rather than the latter. But then again, they usually are, aren't they? And this year the AFL has cooked up 2 that might just be amongst the greatest of all time. First up, on Friday, October 16th, we have the Port Adelaide Power taking on the Richmond Tigers. The Power have been on top of the ladder all season long, and to lose now would be heartbreaking. However, the reigning premiers are thinking repeat, and have been pretty much everyone's favorite to return to the top no matter what the ladder looked like. This game begins at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time here in America, and you can see it on Fox Sports 2. Then on Saturday, October 17th, we have the Brisbane Lions taking on the Geelong Cats. Both teams are undefeated at the Gabba this year, Fagan's crew dreaming about an unprecedented home field grand final. However, Chris Scott and the Danger Show, especially after last week's demolition of Collingwood, seem to have no problem adopting Brisbane as their second home, and would love nothing more than to send the little master himself, the son of God, Gary Ablett Jr., into his retirement directly from the granny. In either case, it seems fairy tale endings could be in the cards in Queensland. The game also begins at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time here in the States, and you can watch it on Fox Sports 2 as well. So, with just 2 matches to talk about, this might go down as the shortest episode I've done so far. Please hold your applause. Of course, I could go into the wild and wacky trade rumors bouncing about, but it would be nothing more than speculation, opinion, and filler at this point. And I don't work for the 24-hour news outlets. But what isn't fake news is that I just received a renewal notice for most of my Bulldogs memberships. I have them set to auto-renew every year, but it's kind of fun getting an email telling me that it's officially happening. It just makes me feel proud that I'm doing my little part for the club. And when I said that it was for most of my memberships, I didn't mean that I wasn't renewing all of them. What I do mean is that my adult 5-game interstate, my AFLW, the sideline, the live global pass through which I get my Watch AFL app access, my Footscray VFL, my Bulldogs Backyard, and my Dogs as Pet membership all will renew automatically. My Top Dog Coterie membership, on the other hand, will have to be renewed through separate channels, and frankly, I'm hoping to get that email from Dale Morris sooner rather than later. Also, I was a bit dismayed to learn that there is currently a waiting list to get in the E.J. Witten Social Club. But I did let the club know to please put me on that waiting list, so I will let you know if and or when I get in. But I'm also happy that the social club is already full to capacity. Bulldogs through and through, and wall to wall it seems. Speaking of awesome Bulldogs, today's Bulldogs bio is about someone I didn't even realize until quite recently, just a few days ago actually, was directly involved with the club, but someone whose work I have admired since before I myself became a Bulldog. I am speaking of none other than the one and only Dennis Cometti. Born on March 26, 1949 in Geraldton, Western Australia, Dennis moved to Perth at the age of 5 and grew up to play football for the West Perth Falcons, playing 40 games in the Waffle. His best year was 1968 when he kicked 63 goals. That same year, he was also offered a job as a disc jockey for station 6KY. Dennis became so interested in radio that footy took a back seat, as he calls it, to his on-air work. In 1970, he moved to Melbourne to work at station 3DB and also to play football for the Footscray Bulldogs in 1971. Unfortunately, his VFL career was short-lived due to persistent hamstring injuries, and he returned to 6KY in Perth just 8 months later. However, he was not done playing footy. He played in the Sunday Football League for Wanneroo before moving to Maddington as captain coach, leading the club to 4 successive grand finals and winning premierships in 1974, 75, and 1976. After retiring, he coached Osborne Park and Kelmsmouth, winning the premiership in 1979. But his fame would come less from his footy boots and much more through the microphone. In 1972, he joined ABC and focused exclusively on sports. In 1986, he joined 7 Channel at the same time the West Coast Eagles were formed for the VFL, soon to be AFL. A few years later, when 7 regained the broadcasting rights to the VFL, Cometti was instantly a top commentator for the league. Moving from station to station as the television rights were constantly acquired and reacquired, Cometti was awarded Television Broadcaster of the Year 11 times until his retirement from TV after the 2016 Grand Final, his 16th Granny that he had commentated. Though rarely seen on TV anymore, Cometti's familiar voice can still be heard calling games on Triple M radio. He is well known for his quick wit, dry humor, and brilliant commentary, producing some gems that will undoubtedly stand the test of time. Perhaps some of his most famous Cometti-isms include, "Before this game, I would have bet the mortgage on the Western Bulldogs, but I guess this shows that I may join the ranks of the homeless." And one time when Tony Liberatore emerged from a pack with blood squirting from his eye, he quipped, "Libba went into the pack optimistically and came out misty optically." And of course, one that I heard alluded to just a few weeks ago, that kick by Grant was centimeter perfect. Personally, though I only enjoyed his television work for 1 year during the 2016 AFL season, in 2015, when I first started learning about the AFL, I purchased and downloaded a video game called AFL Live 2. And for extra realism, the game's voiceover work was mostly done by Dennis Cometti. So to me, at least, he will always remain the voice of footy. Well, I think that should just about do it for this episode. As always, I thank you so much for listening. I will be so very thankful if you could be kind enough to share a link to this podcast with your friends and or family. Maybe even give me a like and a rating wherever you listen to your podcasts. This particular podcast can be found on your favorite podcast player or at straydogfooty.podbean.com. Podbean being where I personally listen to my podcasts. I would, of course, love to hear your feedback. Please let me know what you like or dislike or even hate about this pod. I'm always willing to hear what I could do to make it more enjoyable for you, the listener. As always, you can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Stray Dog Footy and by email at straydogfooty@yahoo.com. In addition, I recently created a YouTube channel called, originally enough, Stray Dog Footy Podcast, where I have added all the previous episodes to this show. So if you know someone who might possibly enjoy something I'm doing here, as crazy as that sounds to me, but who isn't necessarily likely to download a podcast player, then please send them a link to or a video from the YouTube channel. I mean, just about everyone has YouTube on their devices these days, right? Once again, the name is Stray Dog Footy Podcast. And before I forget, let me thank Craig of the Yank on the Footy podcast for the idea of doing a YouTube channel as another means to share this footy pod. As usual, I think I should mention that I am not endorsed by or officially affiliated with either the Australian Football League or the Western Bulldogs Football Club, beyond being a huge fan and supporter and renewed member. Likewise, I am not endorsed or affiliated with Peg and the Rejected, but I do enjoy their music. I would like to thank them for the use of their song, Red, White, Black, and Blue, which I used a portion of as the intro to this episode. I will also play us out to their entire song and, of course, leave a link in the show notes to their music. Well, that's it for now. Enjoy the prelims, everyone. And most importantly, party hard, my fellow doggies.